Even Adelstein came here, worked for KTKT, which was a top radio station back then in Tucson back in the 50s and 60s. I don't think we had FM stations back then or not. But,
yeah, not back then we didn't.
Not then.
Yeah.
And then he took a chance, took a gamble in KZAS and started televising U of A basketball games, football games, and you know, the gamble paid off. Here's Evan.
Thank you. For those of you who are basketball fans from the 1970s, you probably remember the following couple scenes that we just showed. Nowadays, people take it for granted that if you want to watch a U of A basketball game or football game, it's going to be on TV. There are several thousand cable channels to choose from. It's going to be televised. In 1972, that was not the case. A pioneer by the name of Even Adelstein came up with the innovation of bringing televised University of Arizona basketball games, and then after that football, to the public airwaves in Tucson. And at the time, it was a significant innovation. The U of A was playing in Bear Down Gymnasium, which seats 3,000 people. The previous year, the place was only half full. And with the efforts of Stacy's father, Freddie, there was an excitement brought to the community. It was an outstanding team, 5 freshmen that got the job done. And one of the concerns my father had is that the U of A was going to be moving into McHale Center that February of that season. And McHale seats 14,500 people. And he was wondering how in the world are you going to fill that place up when they're only playing in 3,000-seat Bear Down Gym. And so through the innovation of bringing the games to the television audience, he knew that if enough people saw how exciting Freddie's teams were and how good they were, the fans would come out and support the new opening of McHale Center. And it turned out that he was a visionary. He was absolutely right. And sure enough, that season, the team did start selling out McHale Center. To go from 3,000-seat Bear Down Gym to 14,500-seat McHale Center, it was a real significant accomplishment. And the effects of that are still seen today, 37 years later. The University of Arizona is one of the few programs in the country that has a self-sustaining athletic department. So in these days of tight state budgets, where the state legislature has actually cut funding for higher education in the state of Arizona, taxpayer funds are not being used to fund university athletics. That is strictly done through gate receipts from basketball and football programs, as well as the tons of money that they receive from television rights fees from basketball and football. And the concept of rights fees to broadcast the basketball games and football games was a concept that my father introduced. So those people who are students at the U of A today are feeling the effects of my father's innovation 37 years later. So a very significant accomplishment. Another subject that I wanted to mention was that I think Stacy's father and my father, I think, would have gotten a real huge kick out of the 1997 championship team that the U of A had, if they both had been around. I can just picture the two of them sitting down together watching that championship game and taking great pride in that accomplishment. And that accomplishment is not just a 1- or 2-step process that Coach Olson had to achieve. What that was getting from point A to point Z. And there were several steps in the middle that had to be accomplished. And Freddie Snowden and Even Adelstein were a part of that. Coach Olson has stated publicly that he first noticed the University of Arizona when he was coaching it at Iowa, and he was involved in a tournament with the U of A in Hawaii. There were 8 prominent programs in that tournament, and only one of them was having their games televised back to Tucson, and that was KZAZ-TV in little old Tucson, Arizona. So Coach Olson knew at that time that if you built it in the case of Fred Snowden or rebuilt it in the case of Lute Olson, that there would be enough fan support to generate a successful program. I know we've got quite a few people that are being inducted today, so I'm going to go ahead and conclude my remarks today by introducing the VIPs that we have in the audience today. And one of those, the very, very prominent, would be my mother, Ellen Adelstein. You probably remember my mother, Ellen, from her days as being the host of the Talk It Over talk show on the KZAZ-TV back in Channel 11, back when my parents owned it. And another very important person who would have gotten a kick out of this event is my grandfather, Even Adelstein, who passed away 3 years ago. He's not here, but my father's sister, Joyce, came all the way in from St. Louis, flew in 5 hours ago. So we're very, very grateful for Joyce's presence here. And then both of my sisters came in for this event. My sister Tracy came here from Mount Vernon, Washington. My sister Alicia came here from Los Angeles. All 3 of my kids are here. My son Garrett came in from Scottsdale. And my daughters Rachel and Shayna, who live in Tucson, as well as my wife Renee. So basically what this is for us is a joyous family reunion. And so we're very, very grateful to the Pima County Hall of Fame for coming to the conclusion that my father is truly indeed deserving of this honor. And it's very, very comforting to our family to say that although my father has been gone for a very, very long time, he is not forgotten. And we are very, very appreciative of this wonderful accolade this afternoon. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.